I'm listed as Laurel. I don't know why. I can't unmute myself.
Maybe you're
Saying that I'm Laurel instead of saying that I'm Terry.
no one's doing anything anyway. They're all just
They're waiting for people. Yep, there where it says.
see you're unmuted.
Okay, good. But nobody's hearing me.
No one's talking.
Hit the C ring. Okay.
They're waiting for Laurel.
In center, and that's a home run. That's why it's a great rules over there. That's why we saw the ball bounce back on the field. Thank you, Vince. Thank you to Andy Freed.
Why are so many of us listed as Laurel?
Oh, who's watching baseball?
My husband George.
Oh,
Yeah, you got baseball while you're waiting,
okay.
but I'm leaving, so you don't have to hear it.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Terry.
I
Hey, hi, Jesse.
don't know why I'm listed as you, Laurel.
Oh, I don't know either. That's weird.
Oh, and somebody else is listed as you.
Weird.
We've got 3 Laurel Burks today.
Ah,
When you sign in, there's a spot with the name on there, and if it's not yours, you can just type yours in. And evidently Laurel's was on yours when you pulled it up.
and Marta's not gonna make it. Hey, Joseph, how's it going? Unmute.
Sorry, I have another banquet Zoom meeting as soon as we're done here. So I'm gonna be Zooming for 2.5 hours.
Oh my goodness. Should probably get started. I'm oh wait. Looks like we've got how many people? Yeah, there you are. Looks like everybody's here. You want to get started?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, welcome everyone to the quarterly meeting of the CPC to 2021. And let's start with introductions. I'll start that process. My name is Laurel Burke. I'm from the Eugene side and I am the chair of the CPC.
I'm Vicky. I also from Eugene, and I'm the vice chair and government relations subcommittee chair.
I'm Joseph Calverth from Springfield. I'm co-chair of the Habitat Committee.
Tilka,
I'm Tilka Elkins in Springfield. I'm chair of the Talking Stones Subcommittee.
thank you.
I'm Terry Kimball. I'm from the Springfield side. I'm on the Government Relations Committee newly and still interested in the Talking Stones as well.
Nick,
I'm Nick from the Eugene side. I am part of the outreach committee.
Charlotte,
I'm Charlotte Bibb and I'm from Springfield. And I'm on the Talking Stones.
and then we have two candidates with us. I believe Meredith is with us.
Hi, I'm Meredith. I live in Eugene.
Welcome. Sharon, is that you with my other name here? Where'd you go? Chris?
Hi, everybody. My name's Chris Wigg, and I serve on the Willamette board.
Fraser?
Hey folks, Fraser McDonald, staff liaison from Willamette Park and Recreation District.
Eric?
Hi, everyone. Eric Adams, Planning Parks and Facilities Director at Willamette.
Bill?
I'm Bill Maloney. I'm the public visiting, and I'm in both sections of the park most every day, at least since COVID has been here.
Is that you, Sharon?
Yes. I'm sorry, I wasn't able to hear anything when I was here before, so I dropped out and I've rejoined.
Okay.
So what
So
is
go
it?
ahead and- Can you introduce yourself?
Well, yes, I'm Sharon Roberts, and I was interested in joining this group. I moved to Eugene about 3 years ago. I'm retired and currently I'm a Lane County Master Gardener and an Oregon Master Naturalist and a volunteer at the Museum of Natural and Cultural History.
Welcome.
Thank you.
It looks like everybody. We're missing Ruth, Marta, and Sam. Marta will not be with us. She's gonna take care of a medical issue. And then let's see.
Laurel, I'll introduce myself.
Oh, sorry.
I'm Jesse Carey Hobbs. I'm the City of Eugene Parks and Open Space is Natural Area Operations Supervisor, and I'm the liaison to the CPC for the City of Eugene.
Thanks, Jesse. Sorry about that.
That's right.
Okay. And Sam, I don't think will join us. He might by phone, but I don't know if that's going to happen. He said he might have some difficulties with that. And then the only other one we're missing is Ruth. I expect her to chime in anytime. But I think we'll get started in any event.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I'm back on the line, by the way. The system hung up on me.
Oh,
I was wondering, because I didn't hear David introduce himself.
Oh, there he is. Okay. Hi, David. You want to introduce yourself?
Uh-oh.
Or not? Hopefully he didn't get hung up on again. All right. Well, let's get started. We'll see if we can get the others coming in later. First of all, I want to just, in the past, we've read our meeting etiquette. I think everyone pretty much knows what that's about, and I don't think it's really necessary for us to go over it again, but I would like to just emphasize that everyone be respectful in our conversations and try to be succinct with your comments, to just be considerate of everyone's time. So the first thing is the icebreaker question, and that on the agenda is now that the weather has improved, we want you to share the reason why you contribute to the CPC and, oh, wait a minute, that's not the right one, sorry. What the weather is warming, what activities are you most looking forward to in the WNA? Vicki, why don't you start?
I really have looked forward to walking through Wildflower Hollow, which is just on the north side of the Frohmeyer Bridge, a little towards the west. And there's so many beautiful new wildflowers coming up, and aromas are getting pretty strong with the Oregon grape and the Spilacina. So I just love the terraced area, walking along there by the river.
I can go. Yeah, the park is incredibly beautiful. I mean, I think this is the most beautiful month of the year. The halls of delphiniums or larkspur, if you prefer. But I'm feeling so much gratitude to everyone connected to this piece of land and how well it's cared for and watched over. And I'm really looking forward to, I just have kind of a new routine of doing a loop where I pass by all the talking stones and check on them and just connect with them, especially some of the ones that I haven't seen as much. There's one in the Hazel Orchard and others that are out in the prairie. And I'm looking forward to having more time with them this spring, summer.
Thank you.
I'm also in the wildflower mode. My wife and I both just love this time of the year because of all the flowers and the colors. And it only lasts about a month, so we got to get out there this month and enjoy it while it's there.
I'm enjoying all of the bird babies. I'm watching the herons with their nesting and seeing all of the little fluff balls following the duck and goose parents, and that's a lot of fun.
Thanks, Terry. Nick, why don't you go next?
Suppose I'll go. I do like doing a lot of recreational activities in the park, running on Priest Trail being one of them, biking, and also just generally being in the park, enjoying the wildlife over there. And maybe I'll try canoeing over there sometime in the summer. Might be fun. I have never done it, so looking forward to it.
Thank you. Charlotte?
The most thing I'm looking forward to is continuing to walk in the park. Kind of like Tilka, I walk by the talking stones. And if they have too much bird poop on them, I clean them. And that's it.
Thank you. And Ruth is with us. Ruth, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us the question, which is, now that the weather is warming, what activities are you most looking forward to?
Hi, folks. Sorry I'm late. I look forward to the later evenings when I have a bit more time. It adds to my day that I can actually walk around in the natural area after some of my jobs are done. And I help on the CPC. I serve as secretary, and I'm on the outreach subcommittee. So nice to see you guys.
Thank you, Ruth. And David is on with us on my speakerphone because he was not able to get in with the phone number. So David, you want to introduce yourself and tell us what you're looking forward to?
I was able to get in, by the way. The service kicked me off twice. had no trouble getting on, but staying on wasn't possible. I'm David Sonicson from Eugene. I'm on the Government Relations Subcommittee. And I get to walk through Wildflower Hollow every week when I go to the Native Plant Nursery in Alton Baker Park. And it's just spectacular right now with larkspur and Paul Solomon seal. And this is on the slope of Day Island, north of the river, and a very special place that nearby nature named Wildflower Hollow, and it certainly is.
Thank you, David. Okay, let's see, Jesse, you want to go?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I have to totally echo what everyone else has said. This is the month for Wildflower Hollow. It's such an amazing spot on the river. It's I tell anybody who will listen that it is the highest quality bit of riparian habitat we have in the park system. We own most of the riverfront now, with the exception of the blighted railroad tracks across the river. But keeping on a positive note, it is absolutely amazing, and I love that this time of year, as well as just the warming temperatures and being out along the river is just a gorgeous thing.
Thank you, Eric.
Well, I would say pretty much anything in the park right now would be amazingly wonderful and appreciated on my part. I seem to be pretty well attached to this desk chair pretty much 9 to 10 hours a day right now. So yeah, the park is an amazing refuge and escape. And I certainly appreciate any time I can get over there to enjoy any aspect of it, whether that's just taking a quick jaunt down the multi-use paths to check on conditions of things, getting out for a longer run, enjoying the views of the river. Yeah, obviously a very special place. Thank you.
Thank you, Fraser.
I think I'd echo what everybody else shared. I think just being in the park at any time during this next couple of months is really special and appreciated. I think for me, with the warmer weather coming, it's getting a chance to experience the park from the river and see it from a slightly different lens through these warmer months. Thanks.
Thank you. Chris, are you still there?
I'm still here. Like Nick, my favorite part is jogging and walking on Pre's trail. I really like the bark mulch surface, and Eric might have something like that working for us over at Willamette soon. And so I'm real excited about that. And I just want to say that my favorite part of these meetings is hearing everybody share all of the different things that they love about the natural area. I really appreciate that we do that at the beginning, because it really puts me in a positive mood for the rest of the meeting. So thank you, everybody, for being willing to share and enrich my understanding of the natural area. I can't wait to check out the Wildflower Hollow, which I don't think I've ever been to yet.
Ooh, you gotta go. All right, thank you, everyone. All right, the next thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. Unless we have agenda items that we want to adjust. Does anybody have any of those? Going once, going twice. Gone. Okay. Approval of minutes. Has everybody read the minutes and have any adjustments?
The minutes as sent out on the email and the notification of the meeting.
I'll second that. All right, all of those who approve, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? All right, minutes are approved. Next, public comment is on our agenda. Bill, do you have some news for us?
Okay, I'm now unmuted. I think this week or this month, I'll have some questions on logs and wood chips. We have, it seems like, different policies in different parts of the park. At the Canoe Canal Bridge at I-5, we removed a tree on the south side a couple of months ago and removed all of the trunk and spread the bark chips out around the area. It looks a little thick to me, but I've been told that they will be okay. And the last couple of weeks, we removed the tree on the north side and left the trunk there and left 2 piles of bark chips about a foot deep. Maybe they'll get spread when the lawnmower hits them, but it's inconsistent. Maybe the trunk at the north side will be habitat, but it doesn't look like it for me. At the east end of the turtle duck pond, there are a couple of logs in a bare area right at the east end of the pond that I've seen little kids playing with, I've seen big kids playing with. Somebody will get hurt. It's certainly not habitat. They either need to be put out into the pond and anchored for the birds or removed. Fraser and I have talked a couple of times over the years on the large log at the entrance to the west entrance to the Eastgate Woodlands that the power company took down. It doesn't look like it really adds to habitat, and it's hard to clean out the weeds and the ivy around it. There's a couple of more trunks up between the dog park and the Canoe Canal, which is probably out of the CPC territory, that are the same sort of thing. They're right up to the very edge of the trail. So the question is there a consistent policy? Do we have a plan? Does somebody look at trunks and say, hey, these are good ones to leave for habitat? Or are these ones that should be removed for beautification of the park? So that's my question.
Do I have time to respond, Laurel? Or should I do that after the meeting?
Jesse, you want to address that?
Sure, happy to. Bill, I let my staff kind of just determine whether or not they want to leave material in the park for logistical reasons, or whether they want to spread it, or how they want to handle it. I'm certainly willing to review any discrepancies there, but things are not always consistent with the way we manage things out there in the system. And sometimes it depends on whether they can get to a site to get the material away. Sometimes they may have additional plans for the material. So I don't generally see the things in the level of detail that you see them in. So I always appreciate the questions, and I can certainly follow up with you.
I'll send you a separate email.
Okay.
Thanks, Jesse. How about you, Fraser? Is there anything you might want to add?
No, other than to say that there is not a consistent policy with how we handle those. For example, that Pacific Power log just exceeds the size and capacity of any of equipment that we have at Willamette to move it. We've reached out to Pacific Power to no avail to get them to remove it. Generally, I would say going forward, I have made it somewhat of a point to try and remove down debris as much as we can. I think historically, there were a lot of examples of where we just oftentimes push that material into the natural area, thinking that it would serve a habitat or function. Ultimately, in my opinion, that habitat function has not been well served by placing that material in those natural areas. Rather, as I think we've all seen, it becomes overgrown and just makes management more difficult for us. So I would say moving forward, it is my prerogative to try and chip as much of that material as possible. Bill, I'm sure you're aware of all the incense cedar die-off that we have, and we're kind of incrementally losing those. And, you know, we'll leave standing snags as we can, and we'll probably be chipping the tops of those trees and any other debris as we can get it. But again, it sometimes just depends on how much staff resources we have available in order to get that work accomplished. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for your comments.
Question about this.
Okay, go ahead, David.
Thank you. I'll be brief. There used to be a place where large limbs or old trees, dead ones, were stored on the Eugene side, and I'm just asking Jesse if there is still a plan to do that, to use them as down woody debris later on somewhere in the park. And that place was just south of parking lot number 9 on the gravel road, or just south of the gravel road leading from the BMX track over to Day Island Road.
Jesse?
Yeah, David, over time, we have whittled away at the material that was there. We accepted material from various sources over time. We found that we were not able to get to it all in a timely manner. So we've tried to remove it, and we try to be better about being fairly cautious about what we bring to the site, making sure that we have an immediate plan for it, that we're not just bringing something into the park to store it there. So yes, we have an intent to continue placing down woody debris in the pond and in potentially in prairie habitats and that sort of thing. But we just want to be very thoughtful about it. And generally, we're going to figure out the project first and then locate the material and get it placed, as opposed to bringing it out and storing it for a period of time.
Probably a really good idea, considering that there are lots of people occupying lot 9 right now, and those could be a nuisance attractive nuisance for people to climb on.
Agreed.
Okay. All right. Is there any other comment, or can we move on? Going once, going twice. All right, moving on to motion to amend the bylaws. So in conversations with Jesse and our government relations subcommittee, we wanted to try to add some at-large positions. Some of you are familiar with this issue. Because we have had so many vacant seats, especially on the Eugene side, and we've kind of tossed this back and forth for a little while. At the January meeting, we did introduce a motion to amend the bylaws. And so we could pass that motion if we wanted, but I'm starting to wonder if we might want to just have a little brief conversation about it. And if we don't feel like we can make a decision right now, we table it. So I think maybe let's hear from Vicki about that, since she's on government relations, and then maybe Jesse can chime in.
I think this has been a conversation with the executive committee for a while, and trying to explore how we can increase the bandwidth of where we can invite people that would come in and that would use the park, not far away, but just around the Eugene Springfield area. Because at times too, we have had vacancies over in Springfield, but thinking if we could just be able to say maybe a couple of positions would be open and actually identify them on the membership list so that we can keep track of what the dates are for that position. That way it would give people an opportunity to come in and participate, whereas right now they would not possibly be able to do that. And some of the locations are even, you know, off River Road, some people that live in the county but not in the city. So I think it's, I think I would like to move forward with this only to push the conversation and that we would figure out how to do that. I don't think the bylaws are needed to be so specifically detailed on how and a lot of the items, but it's to allow us to be able to do that if it would serve well, and see how we could attract people to come and help implement the park plan.
Thanks, Vicky.
Sure.
David, do you want to go next?
I don't have anything to add to what Vicky said.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty much on board with what Vicky's saying as well. I would like to move forward with the motion. So why don't we hear from Jesse, just to see what's happening.
I think in terms of your, and you guys are more than welcome to pass a motion to do this, and then I think it's important that we have a discussion about how we seek kind of council blessing for this move. You know, ultimately, my understanding is that the council this needs to become a council agenda item, and we need to kind of explain why it's important to the CPC for you to do this, and then ask for their blessing. Having passed a motion within, you know, that you would like to do this within the CPC is a good way of showing your agreement this is important. So you're more than welcome to go about it in that way. But ultimately, I think the council will have to approve it for us in order for us to be able to start advertising outside of the city limits.
Okay. And I would like to work with you and our government relations subcommittee to present that to the city council.
Okay.
So do we want to go ahead with the motion? Vicky?
Yeah, I move that we support the motion to amend the bylaws to include that, and
I'll second it, Ms. Charlotte.
Okay. All right. All right, so we'll put it to a vote. Anybody want to say anything else before we go to that? Okay. So all of those who approve the motion to amend the bylaws, say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Hi, Charlotte.
Hi, Vicky.
Any opposed? All right, looks like it's unanimous. All right, great. Thank you, everyone. All right, and then the next one's easier. That is a motion to recommend the applicants, our new applicants, two of which we've got with us today, or at least I think we've got two. The three applicants that we put the applications in for the city of Eugene all seem to be supported by everyone. So who would like to bring a motion for that?
I make a motion that we accept all four applicants, including David Sonicson, to move forward and communicate that to the city council for appointment on the Citizens Planning Committee for the Eugene positions open.
I'll second the motion. All in favor, say aye or thumbs up.
Aye.
Aye.
Hi, Charlotte.
Anyone opposed? All right, that is passed unanimously as well. Great. All right, and then next we have the Nearby Nature Report. And Beth Stein, I believe, was going to join us, but I think I don't see her on the list. Well, let me see if she might be. Are you with us, Beth? Speak up.
Laurel, I just got an email from Beth saying that she did not get an invite. I've tried to forward her an invite and I'm hoping it's going through, but she is trying to join.
Oh, okay. Well, let's put her later in the on the agenda then, just in case she manages to make it for us.
She says she's
Let's
here.
see if,
Oh,
let me
she-
see if I can, let me see if I can elevate her. If I can see her in here.
Oh,
There we go. Boom. Beth, you
all right.
can unmute yourself.
There
I
we
think
go.
Oh, can you hear me
Yay!
now?
Sorry,
Oh,
Beth.
I was just sitting here and I was like, it's really weird. I can see whoever's speaking, but I can't make my video show and I can't unmute myself. And is a webinar something different than a Zoom meeting?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, there's a little bit of difference there, but
I think I made you a panelist now, Beth,
Yeah.
so hopefully that works.
yeah, I'm showing you on my grid view. Okay, well, Beth.
I can see you now.
Oh, yay.
Oh my gosh, that's so different. It was so weird because I could just see the person who was speaking and I was like, I don't even know if they know I'm here. Oh, wow. Thank you.
I didn't, Beth.
That is so much better. I'm like, wow. I know sometimes there's a feature where you can just see the speaker, but I had no control over anything. And I don't like it when I have no control over anything. So I am here. I'm sorry I was a little bit late. I was teaching my 4 and 5-year-olds today and I raced to get here and then I didn't have a Zoom link. So now I'm here. I'm going to give you my little report and I'll make it brief. So I don't know, did anybody get the report? I sent it to Laurel, but I don't know if she had a chance to send it out.
I don't know if yes, I did get it.
Okay.
I'm thinking that it was sent to everybody, but that might have been my mistake.
Okay. What I've done before is Vicky always gives me a little poke about a week in advance and she said, hey, we need the meeting notes. And I, without that poke, I think I sent it a couple days ago, but I'm happy to do it whatever way makes the most sense. But I will give you my brief report here. And I think you do have it, Laurel. So if you haven't sent it to everybody yet, you can probably send it out.
Yep.
So let's see, Will reports that he's been seeing a lot of progress about cleaning on the North Bank Trail and into Alton Baker Park. And it's been nice to see some of that trash being cleaned up on a large scale. And I know that Nick has been working with Will at least weekly, and they've been picking up a lot of trash, but my sense is that it hasn't been as bad as it has been in the past. Is that what I'm thinking, Nick? Is that?
Yeah, that's right. It's been very clean, and I very much appreciate it because I can spend less time picking up trash and more time walking around.
Yeah, that's really nice. On our site, Vicky and another one of our volunteers have been doing a great job of being our tag team and taking care of the tagging that happens occasionally on the bridge and especially under the bridge. They're having to constantly repaint that, but they do go out every couple of weeks or more sometimes if they need to, and that's been great. We are looking for some more people to help them out because it is a big job. So if any of the CPC members, Vicky can attest to the fact that it's kind of fun and it's sort of satisfying because there's a mess and you clean it up and you're like, yay. But if anybody's interested in that, get a hold of me at Nearby Nature or talk to Vicky and she can get you set up to help. It's kind of like you get to be arty and do graffiti without being a bad person doing graffiti. So that's been fun. The big news for us at Nearby Nature is that the silver lining of the pandemic, I think I probably told you all last time, 3 months ago, that we were converting our nature hut, which was our storage area next to the yurt, into an office so that we didn't have to walk in and out of our park host house during COVID or in the future. And we have finished that. And we have a lovely new office in the old nature hut. It doesn't look any different from the outside. It's very subtle. But if anybody would like to come by, and I've been trying to get a Talking Stones group meeting on site, but we haven't made it happen yet. But if anybody would like to come by and see our office, it's just wonderful. I had a couple of great volunteers who helped do it. And it's really a game changer for Nearby Nature and our park hosts so that they can actually have a house where they don't have to have people walking in and out of their abode all the time. It makes it a much more appealing job for a long-term person, I think, which is great. Will reports that he's been getting reports of ducks tangled in fishing gear. He's been trying to help out, but wasn't able to find the one that everybody was reporting a little while back. Let's see, we did have our first work party since COVID, which was nice. We had a small scale joint project with Solve and picked up 25 bags of trash apparently, and had some nice folks join us who hadn't done things with us before and some who had. And sometimes you get a lot done with a few people who are really focused and on top of their game, as opposed to like a giant group of people who come and half of them are just sort of taking a day off work and having like, yay, a party. So they got quite a bit done, but it was really nice to have Will be able to do part of his job that was part of his job description that he's not been able to do since he got hired last March. So getting out there and doing some work party with actual other folks besides our inner core is really nice. We are doing the City Nature Challenge this weekend. We're going to do a BioBlitz and help with the BioBlitz. If anybody wants to come and count plants and record them via your phone or your camera, we'll be there from 1 to 4 at our site, keeping it small. So let me know if you're going to come, but it should be fun to count some bugs and blooms and all the things that are happening in the park. Let's see. And I would love to, I don't know if it's probably not appropriate to do this at the meeting, but I've been working with the Talking Stones Committee to try to set up a time to have you all come out and either have a meeting on site or just come and check out the site. And we got sort of stalled a little bit because I got busy and we didn't find a match the first time around, but I will send out another invite this next week to see if I can get folks. And it might even be that if you want to set a Talking Stones Committee meeting time or a couple possibilities and get in touch with me and say, would this work? And then you all know that you can meet. I mean, whatever way you want to do it is fine, but I'm happy to welcome people whenever they want to come. Just a couple more things program-wise. Our garden, we have a garden manager, our education coordinator is putting our garden in. It's starting to look really beautiful. I think we've managed to move the nutria on who were helping themselves liberally to the garden. So we now have plants coming up, which is wonderful. And thanks to the city also for helping us get rid of the other creatures that were causing issues. The rats that were in the site and in the house are now pretty much gone, we think, which is great. But we have been having kids there all year. We've really, I mean, it's been a weird and hard year in many ways, but we have had a lot of kids. We've had kids since the fall, at least a couple groups of kids every week, 10 to 12 kids with us for 4 to 8 hours a week. And they've had a great time. They've had a great time. And I've had such fun teaching. I haven't taught in years, and I've had more fun with those 4 and 5-year-olds than I can remember. And the kids, it's just been so good for them. And the parents have been so grateful that they were able to get out into nature in the park and explore and see birds and animals and just be playing outside. It's been super wonderful. And so we're really happy that we have the space to do that. We're also really excited. Our summer day camp registration opened in February and we are full. We are never full by this time. We are full to overflowing. We have huge wait lists. We've opened all the additional camps that we can in terms of our capacity, but people are definitely really anxious to get their kids outside. They're considering it to be healthy and safe. And we have been healthy and safe all year, haven't had any incidents with illness. So there will be a lot of kids in the park this summer, thanks to Nearby Nature. And we got a whole bunch of volunteers lined up with students at the U of O. And as long as we don't keep going into these weird extreme things, it's not really changing the guidance for childcare and summer camps, I don't think, but it's a little concerning to have, you know, the county going back into extreme risk. And I'm sure it could engender some cancellations from families. I don't know, but I think that people kind of know what's going on now and they're happy to have their kids outside. So it's like I said, it's great to have the space and the connection with the park to be able to provide such a wonderful place to do that. And finally, our network charter school folks did actually come back into hybrid this last week. And so we've got a few kids coming into the park every week. It'll be more kids in May, just 4 kids actually right now. Some of the kids chose to stay virtual, but there are kids coming into the park. So we're going to start having our teens in the park again, which is nice. So things are slowly returning to normal, or they're continuing on in our new normal. And like I said, it's been a weird year, but I'm really grateful for the connection and the support we have from the park. And we had Ken came over and saw Ken Wolford came over and saw our new office, and he was just really positive about Nearby Nature and what we are doing. And I wanted just to reflect that back. And our relationship with the city has always been very positive, and it's great to get that input that people feel happy about what we're doing. And I'm happy to take any questions that anybody has.
Anybody have any questions? David?
No questions.
No? Okay.
Great for the office.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, it's
That's
really
awesome.
a game changer. I mean,
Yeah.
you could now come and you could knock on our door and say, hey, Nearby Nature, and check in with us. It's not like we're not going to have public events in the office, not a nature center or anything like that, but it's just, even in the summer when parents come, they can come to the office. They don't have to worry about like, where do I knock on a door or who's, and it just gives Will and Nicole, who are park hosts, a whole different way of like being park hosts, and they can actually occasionally put their job away, which has really been hard for park hosts in the past, because even on their days off, when they would say, okay, I'm not working on Mondays, the rest of us would go in and out of the office, and it's so hard. Like, can I just ask you one little question, Sean? And then, so now they can actually go inside their house and like, I'm not working right now. I am working now. That's really healthy for someone to be able to be there long term. So I think it's a great change. And I can't stay all evening. So if I do go away now, I'm not bored or anything. I've been on since about 7:30, and I don't have the capacity, I don't think, to stay on quite till the end of things, but I will stay as long as I can. And do get in touch with me, Laurel and company, about having a meeting on site or just coming and visiting.
Yeah, it sounds great. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you.
Yeah, I sent you a quick message about that too, Beth. I will. And thanks for everything you're doing. It's really fantastic to hear all about it.
Thank you, Beth.
Okay, next on the agenda, Jesse, you want to go with your report?
Sure. So yeah, despite a really weird year, it's still been a lot of things going on in the park. I definitely had staff out there working. My staff talked about some work we've been doing. We did on the Canoe Canal water levels, trying to address some issues with the neighboring residences and kind of higher than average water. We've talked about this several times in this meeting, so I won't spend a lot of time talking about it, but we tried adjusting the stop logs that are kind of over by the dog park on the Canoe Canal canoe chute area, and to try to adjust the water level there a little bit to see how that would work. And I think it's positive. And now we're trying to figure out, they might be too low for boaters. And of course, with this amazing but strange and scary spring we've had, there's been a lot of boaters out earlier than normal. So, and potentially lower water levels in the river. So, it's always a challenge, that whole piece of what we do out there. Invasive species management, is pretty common this time of the year in the spring. And we did a little early on, and we'll continue doing some of that kind of work as we move on. Let's see, Lori Holtz had a little kind of update, and just the fact that we're going to be getting together pretty soon as a site team, the folks who manage our natural area parks, to review and update our 5-year maintenance plan for the site. And I think we will, as in previous years, give that plan review to the CPC, to the Habitat Subcommittee specifically, to review and give us comments on. So we're always very curious about making sure we're able to answer questions and modify the plan in a way that meets the interests of the CPC. Lighting for Priest Trail, the kind of what's become a pretty decrepit system of lighting along the Priest Trail, many lights that are no longer working, etc. Will be replaced starting on May 11th. We intend to keep the trail open during that period of time. Reminder that is just the portion that is lit is really a portion that is west of essentially the eastern edge of the dog park, or the Autzen Frohnmeyer footpath that runs north-south through the park. It is west of there, excuse me. So, so it's not going into the larger portion of the natural area site. Let's see, the volunteer program is doing a bunch of work, you know, in the park. There was actually recently a Bee City bee count out in the park. I know that Kelsey is connected with Laurel about Talking Stones work out there. There's going to be some river cleanup work done over the spring, small groups doing some work out there, and kind of taking place. The Willamette River Keeper has their Trashy Tuesdays that kind of floats the river and cleans up basically the entire river system through Eugene. And then, you know, as you all know, this will be after our July meeting, but the Willamette River Festival, they're still going to try to make this happen this year. And so that planning is underway, has been underway for that for quite a while now. So Joe Waxmunsky, our lead park ambassador, just notes that in general, the Whilamut has seen a lot less camping and trash than in previous years, which is wonderful. Despite a lot of use by folks out there, we may, you know, I think we're anecdotally right now attributing some of the camping decreases, of course, to the sanctioned campsites that are at Washington Jefferson Park and at 13th and Chambers. And so, you know, by having, you know, some places where folks can be, and they're not necessarily ideal sites for that, but it is certainly, we're seeing decrease in the riparian areas. So that's a good thing. And then Reagan kind of gave us a little update about about lot 9, just saying that it's kind of slowly building and seems to be no issues, no concerns. The camp is quiet. I think, you know, there's still great, you know, plenty of parking at lot 9. So, you know, it's been a really real success, and we've seen that throughout the course of these CSS rest stops, community supported shelter rest stops, is that they're always clean and well run, and we really get no problems with the sites. And a byproduct of that is that within a couple hundred feet of those sites, we really take extra care to make sure there aren't additional camping going on. So it's not like we're allowing them to attract additional car camping or other types of camps outside of the footprint. So I hope that it's been a fairly good experience for the CPC as well. And I think we all want to hear if that's the case or not. So that's all I have.
Okay, well, thank you. Fraser, do you have and actually, if I could just interject real quick, because I know Chris has to leave. Fraser, would you mind if I ask about the logs that we talked about? Has there been any word on that you know about?
No, I was hoping we'd get a more formal request from the CPC, but I think we can consider this a formal request. We will begin some investigation. I think we're going to shy away from logs, and I think after some discussion with Marta, if folks are okay with it, we may look at larger rocks. So want to just run that past folks and see if there are any objections to putting larger rocks around that talking stone or adjacent to it as a deterrent to stop people from cutting through.
Okay, so we're talking about Lock Me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for doing that.
Actually, I was talking about Haidoa.
Oh.
The bench thing at Haidoa, you know, that big bench.
Oh, the bench log.
You mean
Okay,
the elephant in the room, you know that one?
But I am interested in what you're saying about Lock Me.
Yeah, same.
That's exciting. If you're able to put rocks there that can protect the plants and are easy to maintain, I think that's probably, that has been the #1 choice when we've met as a committee to discuss what to do there. So That sounds great.
So Laurel and I spent a lot of time planting and watering plants behind Lockney and also Hydwa, which most of them aren't there anymore. But Laurel, do you know if any, and two of them are obviously there. Do you know if any more of them came up, or are they all gone behind Lockney?
The last time I was there, there was 3 really small Oregon grape. There is a red flowering currant that's still there and a couple of the snowberry. But we did repopulate some of that a little bit farther away from the stone.
Yeah.
And hoping that that's going to kind of take up the space.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that, Fraser, that those plants still might be coming up there.
Okay.
When you're, Laurel's got a better memory for that than I do, so yeah, I'm sure y'all can work together on the stone placement. But thank you very much for doing that.
Yeah. So Fraser, can we? I was thinking about Lockme, that space where the bench was. So what is the situation with that? Are we going to have? Do you think it will be considered to be like an informal? Or
Laurel, you mean Hydwa? Sorry to interrupt you.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm talking about Hydwa. My bad. So, because Tilka gave us a really interesting idea that I thought we might consider to put a log or whatever it is we put there as an informal bench, or a formal bench without the slab, as 90 degrees to the pathways, which I think is an interesting orientation and might actually serve the situation better than if we put it parallel to the pathways. But that's just something, I'm just throwing that out. We don't need to necessarily decide that right now, but so that it's just more, I think, a question in my mind about, we'll have some ongoing discussions, I think, about that. But if you hear anything, let me know.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so go ahead if you, your report.
Sure. We'll definitely take that into consideration. Thank you for making that request. And as staff, we'll discuss it and try and report back with kind of how we want to proceed with that once we've kind of had a chance to think it through. As far as our staff goes, we have really been probably a lot more active at Eastgate than we ever have been in the last couple of years, at least in my time with Willamette. Brett, our natural resource specialist, has been doing quite a bit of coordination with volunteers, as well as our own park staff, to try and get a number of projects done. So the first big project that he's been working on has been working with a volunteer from Springfield, Bob Foster, to do life ringing around ivy trees. And my understanding is that Bob has done most of the canoe canal and has now moved over towards the pedestrian path along the river, and is making great progress. So I really want to share my kudos and thanks to Brett for being able to engage with Bob and keep Bob busy and be able to get some really great work done. We've also had a ton of collaboration with the Habitat Subcommittee. We've been able to deliver loads of bark mulch, exchange plants, and are really excited to see that kind of west entrance gateway into the park be improved and look in a lot better condition than it was previously. So thank you, Laurel, for all of your help making that happen. We've also been dealing with quite a few camps there. I don't know on average if it's more or less than normal, but we've had some pretty significant camping issues out at Eastgate, mostly along that power line corridor that parallels I-5. Also been doing quite a bit of work on false brome, trying to get that stuff mechanically treated before it goes to seed this year. We've also been doing some seeding projects and planting projects in areas where we've had a few years of invasive species control. So the latest project was actually across from Hydwa, in an area where we had cleared some blackberries. We coordinated an event with the city of Springfield, and we're able to get about 60 native plants in there. I know Laurel knows the location, but it's right at the triangle. And so we're really excited to see that kind of follow-up work finally taking place in Eastgate, and not just kind of managing what's there, but getting some new populations of good stuff in there. only other big update I think from our end is that the kiosk language is all finalized, and last notice I got is that it is getting translated into Spanish, and as soon as that is done, we will have that new signage up on the kiosk for everyone. So no, that's been a long time coming, and everybody's excited to see it done. And I was able to share some draft language with Marta, and I think she was going to use some of the new language as she's working on a Talking Stones brochure update. So with that, I will sign off unless there are any questions.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
I have one. Okay, so there looks like there's some plantings next to Hydwa. Did you mention those?
Yes.
Right next to it, not
Yeah.
across from it.
Well, so there's two actually. The ones that we put in, and Terry and I did this a few weeks ago, it would be east of Hydwa on the same side of the path.
Okay, I didn't know where those came from.
And then the other one, and it's kind of one of those things where we don't want to share it with a lot of people because we don't want a lot of people to try to get in there. And but it's across from Hydwa on the path that goes toward the Eastgate entrance. So it would be just before you come to that little bridge with the handrail on your right hand side as you're going toward Eugene. And it's not easy to see because a lot of them are really little and some of them are like little iris and stuff. So unless you kind of know where to look, they're not real easy to locate.
Okay, thanks for doing that.
No, that was Fraser. That was a Willamut.
Okay.
Kudos to everybody. All right.
Question for Fraser.
Okay, go ahead, David.
Thanks. Is there an update on the issue of the fence separating Metro Wastewater property from Eastgate Woodlands? Because there had been talk about potentially removing it.
David, there has been no further discussion on that. Last time we brought it to the CPC, it seemed like there was opposition to doing that work.
Right.
And so I think it's kind of fizzled out on our end. I think as we know, that fence is very unattractive. It's also an impediment to doing some probably larger scale and important habitat work. But I'm going to leave that probably in the CPC's court to give us some further direction on it.
Thank you.
Thanks, David. Yeah, actually, Fraser, I think you, excuse me. I think you might have already won us over with that fence issue, but we can talk more about that in detail. Because I think you're right, it is a little bit of a hazard because some of the chain link fencing is coming down and it's getting to be kind of problematic. So we'll further discuss that with Wildlife and Habitat and touch base. Great.
Thanks, Laurel.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, David. Anything else, anybody? Going once, going twice? All right, onward to the subcommittee reports. Tilka, would you like to take the next one?
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we've kind of touched on, Fraser mentioned talking with Marta on the Talking Stones new brochure, and that's been a lot of what we've discussed in recent times. And that's something that Marta has taken to Esther Stutzman and David Lewis and is working with them on it. So we're just being patient while that process happens. And we have been in discussion about our recommendations for a bench in the vicinity of Hydwa, but not too close, of course. And we should be able to give a formal recommendation for that soon. Other than that, I've been looking at the Talking Stones with an eye to repainting now that the weather is warmer. And Charlotte has been checking on them regularly, and any of us who are around them try and get the bird poop off. I did some weeding over the weekend around several of the stones, just some of the fast growing weeds that had sprouted up right next to them. I personally like when they have a lot of foliage behind them, so I didn't really address that. But yeah, there are a few of the sites that we are in discussion about possible plantings, and they were looking really, really good on the whole. And once I get some of the painting and a bit of the cosmetic damage that was necessary as part of cleaning off graffiti, I can work with the stone pigments that are part of what I do as an artist that go so well. For those of you who are new to the committee, or just who are sitting, who haven't been formally voted in yet, I work with mineral pigments that work really well to heal any sort of cosmetic challenges to the stones and help them recover after graffiti cleanings. So I'll be doing some of that, and others will be joining me. And I think that is all that I have to report right now.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
Sometimes in May or end of May, there's a Talking Stones maintenance thing where we'll go out, and especially some out in the prairie area around the pond or over by the Park Host House where the grass gets really thick. Is there any plans to continue doing that? Or have you guys talked about maybe setting up some dates, or how would that work?
We don't have formal plans to do that. We've just been assessing them as individuals. But yeah, I mean,
I would like to do that, have a date and
Yeah.
go out and do that, because we've done that every year. And like Good Coot and some of the other ones need more than, one person doing it.
yeah, so I think we will be meeting as a group soon, and we will put that at the top of the agenda.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vicki.
One note to the Talking Stone subcommittee, anybody that's going out and doing weeding, if they could touch base with me and just make sure that you're not taking out our natives. I know sometimes we have natives that look like weeds. And so if you have any questions about what you're pulling, please check with me, because we've got a couple of volunteer populations around some of these stones that we want to try to keep. So let's just make sure we're in good communication about what we're pulling and what we're leaving. All right, any other questions? David, do you want to chime in, or?
No questions.
Okay. All right, next, the government relations, Vicki.
We met a few times, I think, after our last meeting in January. And we passed a motion for the e-scooter support of the park plan to stop motorized vehicles from being in the WNA. I attended a active transportation subcommittee, active transportation committee. Used to be BPAC, the bike group in Eugene, and some of the information, I think Rob Ennerfelt was trying to get input from them, and I think left out some information that we had discussed at our meeting. So we shared with that, the ATC, and they've come back and said they're interested in working with us to for some joint work and shared interests. And we have yet to get a meeting going with that, but still we're trying to work with some city councilors also to be able to have the CPC at the table for talking with when the city councilors talk about that pilot project, and really what the intent of the CPC motion is, so that we can answer any questions that they might have directly rather than having to hear about them secondhand. So that meeting has not, I know, been scheduled at all. I think they're doing a lot of other things, but we've been trying to work together to do a compressed document to make sure that we're representing the CPC with what we discussed in our January meeting to help reduce any impacts in the Willamut natural area from e-scooters. And we've been, I think that's mostly, from my report, maybe that's a little longer than I need to say, but and I think we're also have been looking into some of the IGAs that form the CPC and looking at seeing what jurisdictions and what agreements when the county measure had passed all the way up to present day. So that's going to be an ongoing project, and we're still working through it to see if we have things that we need to move forward and communicate with either the city manager's office or with parks. So we're still working through that. Other than that, that's mostly what we've been working on.
Thanks, Vicki. Okay, Habitat and Wildlife. My report is basically just a lot of the same things that we've been talking about. We have been, especially Terry and I have been out in Eastgate quite a bit doing weeding for that Eastgate project. We've done the planting of the native plants. We are working with Lori Holtz and Kelsey Irvine at the Native Plant Nursery to help us with the management of the plants, as well as resourcing the labor and the plants themselves. And so that's going to be an ongoing project. We're probably a little late on planting right now. So the goal is more to do site prep probably for the rest of the summer. And I have a bunch of plants in my nursery that, are going to be going in eventually, but they'll be watered and taken care of through the summer, since we don't want to just stick them out there and not be able to water them. And then we do have one issue out at Eastgate. We recently discovered a huge Oregon grape plant was dug right out of the ground. And I don't know how that would be happening. I don't know why it's still happening. I do know that Oregon grape theft has been kind of an issue in this area for a while. But I was surprised by how big this particular one was and how they got it out. It was kind of crazy. But if anybody knows, anything about that, we should probably try to report some of that stuff if we can. Other than that, I guess every time I've been out in the work, I'm there usually once a week. And I do talk with a lot of people that come into the park, especially on Sunday. It's kind of interesting, the people that walk up through there. And one of the biggest concerns that I'm hearing from patrons right now is this idea of the pathways being shared with pedestrians and scooters and fast moving bikes. We've had quite a few people tell me that they have been either hit or had really close calls. One woman actually reported that her dog was killed by a bike on one of those shared paths. So one of the things that I think we really do need to emphasize if we do get into this work session with the city of Eugene is that, there are becoming problems already with this. That there's kind of a conflict between our passive users and our more active bicyclists. And so we'd like to bring that to the city council. Even though other people may have brought it, we feel like it's probably important that the CPC back that position. And then the only other thing is just, the locations of the barriers. I did talk with Lori Holtz about putting logs over by Eliu, just, not close to the stone, but kind of behind that big, huge maple, so that will kind of preserve the area from bicyclists going through there, and also allow us to kind of delineate where our restoration project's going to start. So that's an ongoing discussion. And that's pretty much all I have for Habitat. Any questions or comments?
I have a question.
David?
Thank you. Just to be clear, I haven't heard anything about this dog death. Are you saying you heard that from a park user, and did it happen in the Willamut?
Yes. It happened right by that Eastgate entrance, she said.
I heard the same thing. And the woman was despondent about it.
She was very upset.
Does Willamette know about this?
Eric or Fraser or Chris?
This
One?
is the first that I have heard about anybody's dog being killed by a cyclist.
Yeah. And I wasn't able to verify that either. So I don't know, you know, I just basically took her at her word. She did have another friend who apparently was there also. So I kind of felt like it was pretty credible.
Laurel?
Yeah, go ahead.
Did she share any details about time of day, or if the dog was on or off leash, or any other details that would help us determine, you know, what other safeguards or safety measures we might be able to put in place?
She did say that her dog was on leash. Terry, do you remember other details? I mean, she didn't.
But one thing that really struck me was she said that it almost seemed as if the bicyclist did it on purpose. She said that the bicyclist seemed to swerve in order to hit the dog.
And there were really no details about the time of day or even what day. I mean, it was one of those just really informal conversations where, you know, she was upset and not really wanting to, you know, elucidate exact details. I'm not sure she would have been able to tell me anyway, but I know that it had happened like within the past couple of weeks, and that was a couple of weeks ago. So probably a month ago this happened.
We've had several conversations about concerns with motorized bikes and wildlife getting hit because, you know, we've seen roadkill on the bike paths before more than once. I've seen it more than once.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know, other than just, you know, some kind of enforcement of the speed limit, but I don't even think there is a speed limit. I don't know. I don't have solutions, and I'm not sure, you know, we have the capacity to address that issue, but maybe our role is more just passing along information in this case.
Well, and I think we're kind of focusing on one of the worst cases,
right.
But it's not like this is infrequent. I have heard multiple times people saying how much their enjoyment of the natural area has been disrupted by e-vehicles.
Anything else, David?
No.
Okay. Anybody else?
No, just thank Laurel and Terry for planting in so many areas for a period of time. I think that's great. And I think that's going to have a huge impact on the area. Good job.
Thank you. All right. Outreach. You ready, Ruth?
Hi, folks. I'm here. I'm just a little zoomed out today, so I'm taking some downtime on my screen. But I have the subcommittee report for outreach. Nick and I sort of head up outreach, and we've met with Laurel and Vicky as well and spent some time chatting with Beth. But really just trying to figure out what foundation we're moving from, like, so what our goals are with outreach. We're sort of like relaunching the idea of having an outreach subcommittee. I know it's existed multiple times in the past, but we're fresh and new to it and trying to define our goals. And I came up with this, and Nick and I have chatted about it, and proposing just that we want to raise awareness of the natural area, sharing content about the flora and fauna of the area and the talking stones, and encouraging that stewardship of the area. We feel like that's pretty much defines the goals of outreach. And then as far as our capacity for supporting and contributing, we are looking at the different options for social media pages. Nick went ahead and we created a Facebook page for the CPC, and I shared the link in the notes there. So if you're a Facebook user, if you want to go on there and like on that, we're hoping to share content from the CPC directly. We went back and forth with Beth too. We were hoping to sort of like leverage some of the contacts through Nearby Nature and maybe do sort of like a crossover social media there. But the decision was made to sort of move forward with more of a CPC defined thing. But it's a trade-off, because the problem with it is that we don't have followers or a network already established that we would have had with Nearby Nature. And I made contact with Fraser, and I chatted with Alyssa at the City of Eugene. And so we have some contacts there. There's sort of some holding spaces, like we've put pins in things and there's not really been that next step of action taken. And the last thing I would mention is that we looked at the City of Eugene website where the Talking Stones brochure is housed, and we did a little bit of investigating, because from a mobile device or what you might use if you're in the natural area, that PDF is upside down and back to front. You can't really zoom or see it very well. It's difficult to use. So we did a little bit of figuring out whether or not it could be more easily digitized. It turns out it's a much bigger project than just like putting it on a different screen or just zooming into it. It may need some recalibrating that aligns with the, I'm losing my words, but the Willamette kiosk that was put in place at Eastgate. So Talking Stones, Tilka has that, I believe the subcommittee was going to meet and chat about what could be updated, if anything, about that brochure. City of Eugene offered to make a color brochure. So there's all these things in the works, but no forward motion on that. And I'll sign off by saying any contributions to social media are very much appreciated. Thank you, Bill, for sending those really cool pictures most recently. I hope we get to share them on our social soon. Nick is the captain and the steward of the codes and such for that Facebook page. So if you have content, he can pop it on for you. And I'm open for any questions if you have any, or suggestions, always.
I also want to add that I've used Bill's picture of the pheasant on the Facebook page. So thank you, Bill, for taking that picture.
Nice. I wonder if we can use some of the other stuff we have in library. Bill, do you by any chance have a bunch of those old pictures, like of the foxes and stuff, that you might be able to share with us digitally?
Okay, I'm unmuted. I sent Ruth a whole bunch of old pictures and a couple of separate albums, so she has them.
Oh, good. Okay. Great. Thank you for sending those. Those are going to be amazing once we finally figure it all out.
Yeah, I get pictures all the time. I don't go looking for pictures, they find me. That hawk picture that I think Ruth and Laurel saw that was one of my better ones for the last year.
Well, and that's why they're so good, is because they come to you, huh?
Yeah, I carry a camera and walk.
Right.
I don't look for anything, it comes to me.
Great, thank you. All right, is there anything else anybody wants to share or questions? Okay, moving on. Let's go to the executive committee. Which really we've pretty much covered. I don't know, Vicki, is there anything else you can think of? I think we've pretty much covered everything under all the other subcommittees.
I think you're right.
Yeah, But I did want to just pipe up with something that Sam wanted me to share, the Willamette River Festival update. It is kind of a long document, so what I can try to do is just summarize a little here. So it looks like the art and stormwater processes in Springfield, Green Island Tourings and paddling event are going to be happening this year. They're not going to have base camp with booths or activities because they just don't want a bunch of people in one place. Tentative planned events are Paddlecross Challenge, the iNaturalist Great Greenway Bio Blitz. And as Beth mentioned, that's going to be starting up, a different portion of that, I guess, is going to be starting up soon. And then they are going to be having some stewardship events throughout the week where they'll be hosting some volunteer opportunities on land and water to help clean up the river and improve the natural area. And then a film festival and webinars. So there will be features of Oregon Native American filmmakers and storytellers and Willamette-centric fish facts, native plants, birds, and mollusks. And then there is fun floats, interpretive, and self-guided tours. So this time they will have organizers hosting the opportunities by foot, bike, or boat. Participants can choose a variety of recreational experiences. So that looks very interesting. It looks like they're really going to have a good Riverfest this year. Obviously social distanced and safe. So he wanted me to bring that to the committee since he couldn't make it.
And I think we still have another meeting before that. So if he has more detailed things, he could probably let us know ahead of time for that. Yeah, great.
Yes, I did encourage him to please send us any, cries for help. If he needs us, if he thinks there's something that we can help with, then I encourage him to please contact us. David, anything from you?
Nope.
Okay. Well, that is those are all of our reports. And wow, we're going to be done early, you guys. How great is that? I do have one question for, I think for Tilka probably would be most appropriate. The conversations that are being had around the language, are we including David Lewis at Esther's request, or what's the logic behind that?
I believe Esther and David are working together with Marta. Yeah.
Okay. Will their deliberations be shared with our committee?
Yes.
Okay. Because I have not heard anything about this until now. So I'm just wondering. Okay, great. Well, I don't think we have much of anything else except to choose our next date. Does everybody have the ability to commit to that this time? Got your calendars out? All right, I am looking at typically it's the third week of July. Do we agree that that should probably stay the standard? Anybody object to that?
And I think Marta's not here, but I believe she, Wednesdays are better for her because Thursdays she works late or something.
Mm-hmm. And Charlotte, Wednesdays are better for you, is that right? Or?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else who typically has a preference for the week, for the day of the week? I'm okay with Wednesday. How about you, David?
I prefer Thursday, but Wednesday is fine, and it seems like it's necessary to have it for at least a couple of people.
Right. Okay. Vicky, are you on board with that? Okay. Joseph, how about you?
I am going to be out of the area the last 2 weeks of July.
Okay.
Leaving on the 18th. So if you do
okay.
Wednesday the 14th, I'll be here.
Okay, yeah, I think we probably should put it the 21st.
Oh,
So that means you probably won't be able to join us. Would you be able to join us by phone?
I might be able to do it, yeah.
Okay. Nick, Tilka, Ruth, anybody? Okay. Why don't we just say the 21st? How about you, Fraser and Jesse? Fraser? It's sort of, okay. So let's say the 21st of July, 5:30 to 7:30. Is that good for everyone? David, did you say? Okay. Yep. Let's do it. 5:30 to 7:30, the 21st of July.
I think we'll probably assume that it's going to be a Zoom meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, I would assume.
Jesse, do we know when the city council is going to meet to appoint all the boards and commissions? Is that usually like in June or something?
It seems like it's usually like the first week or so in June that they've been doing it recently, but I will check. I think having your guys's kind of formal recommendation, maybe you can send me an email, Laurel or whoever, and with your formal recommendation of the candidates, and then I will send that on and ask about that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
All right. Do we want to have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
I second that.
Okay. David and Tilka second. All right. Motion to adjourn. All that approve, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Pass. Okay, unanimously. All right. Thank you very much. Ruth, you'll be able to get the link, won't you, to download our recording? Great. Thank you. Okay, you guys.
All right, bye, everybody.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much, everybody, for
everybody.
taking time. Hope to see you soon, Sharon and Meredith. And David.
Happy spring, everybody.
Yeah,
Happy
happy
spring.
spring. Take care. Bye-bye.
Enjoy the natural area.
Thank you.